Former England prop Joe Marler has never been shy of controversy, and his latest comments have once again stirred debate across the rugby world. Tasked with selecting the most feared player of the professional era in a knockout-style bracket of rugby's hardest men, Marler crowned South African enforcer Bakkies Botha as the most intimidating figure of all time. Along the way, he described fellow Springbok lock Eben Etzebeth as a fake tough guy, compared aspects of Etzebeth's on-field persona to his own, and labeled Botha a world-class thug, whose reputation struck fear into opponents on both sides of the ball. The debate unfolded on the Hits Different show alongside former Harlequins and England teammate Danny Kerr, where Marler was challenged to work through a tournament-style bracket of rugby's modern-era hardmen, defined as a blend of physicality and a willingness to push or cross the boundaries of legality. Only players from roughly 2008 onwards were eligible. What followed was equal parts nostalgia, humor, and brutal honesty. The round robin, rugby's hardest men go head-to-head. The bracket featured a heavyweight list of enforcers and physical specimens. Carl Heyman v. Courtney Laws, Danny Grucock v. Schockberger, Marcos Ayerza v. James Haskell, Sebastian Chabal v. Bakkies Botha, Chris Haliufia v. Willem Alberts, Jamie Cudmore v. Dwayne Vermeulen, Mamuka Gorgods v. Paul O'Connell, Brad Thorn v. Eben Etzebeth. Each matchup forced Marler to weigh raw aggression against genuine rugby excellence. Early decisions. Clean versus dirty, the first clash between Heyman and Laws was straightforward in Marler's eyes. Heyman, he said, was a fantastic scrummager, but largely clean in his approach. Clean as a whistle, Marler remarked, suggesting that being feared required more than just technical excellence. Laws progressed. The Grucock versus Berger debate proved tougher. Marler described both as tough, nails, and dirty, acknowledging their uncompromising reputations. While he joked that Berger's smiling photo made him look a little bit more psychotic, he ultimately advanced Grucock. When it came to Ayerza against Haskell, there was little hesitation. Marler dismissed Haskell's inclusion outright. "Why is he on here? You said hardmen." Recalling a past altercation between them during a Wasps versus Harlequins clash, Marler theatrically pushed Haskell's image aside. Ayerza, who once headbutted Marler during a match, moved on. Botha versus Chabal. Brutality versus aura. The showdown between Chabal and Botha was one of the most anticipated matchups. Marler described Botha in vivid terms: massive unit, filthy, punching, headbutts, elbows. He even speculated, half-seriously, about whether the Springbok lock ever got away with gouging. Chabal, by contrast, was portrayed as destructive but not necessarily dirty. Chabal wasn't ever dirty, was he? He would melt people. He was horrible. Ultimately, Botha's blend of intimidation and illegality tipped the scales. The South African advanced. Personal experience matters in the clash between Haliufia and Alberts. Marler leaned heavily on lived experience. He recounted being smashed by Haliufia during the Tongan stint with London Irish, a moment etched into memory. Alberts, whom he dubbed a gentle monster, was powerful but lacked the same menacing aura. Haliufia progressed. Vermeulen edged past Cudmore, whom Marler respected deeply, describing the Springbok number 8 as one of the best. O'Connell defeated Gorgods, and Thorn faced Etzebeth in a fascinating generational battle. Etzebeth, fake tough guy. When discussing Etzebeth, Marler offered one of the most eyebrow-raising comments of the segment. "He does a lot of what I used to do," Marler said. "All fight, no poo. Fake tough guy for me. It's exactly what I used to do, fake tough guy." The remark wasn't entirely dismissive. It was self-reflective. Marler implied that Etzebeth's aggressive posturing was part theater, part gamesmanship, something he recognized from his own career. Still, Thorn advanced from that tie to semifinals. Fear factor decides as the bracket narrowed. Laws and Botha moved past Grucock and Ayerza respectively. Marler praised Ayerza as perhaps the best scrummager in the Prem at least, but fear remained the decisive metric. Bakkies would strike fear into any opposition. Both teams, in fact, he said that Haliufia overcame Vermeulen due to Marler's personal memories of their collisions. Thorn defeated O'Connell, though Marler admitted his reasoning was wavering. When comparing Laws to Botha, Marler wrestled with the distinction between rugby greatness and intimidation. Courtney was a world-class rugby player, he acknowledged. But this board is about being most feared. He admitted he was wary of catching the end of one of Law's tackles, but not truly scared. Was I scared of Bakkies? Yeah, I was always scared of him. Thorn reconsidered as the final approached. Marler reconsidered Thorn's place in the bracket. He admitted that while Thorn commanded immense respect, fear wasn't quite the same. I was never really scared of you. I was just impressed by you, he said. That recalibration saw Haliufia advance to face Botha in the final. These two scumbags, I was scared as less of them. I didn't want to go anywhere near them. Filth, horrible. The final verdict after building suspense. Marler delivered his verdict. Botha was his pick as the most feared rugby player of the modern era. Nasty piece of work as a rugby player. He concluded. He clarified that his remarks were confined strictly to on-field experiences and not personal attacks. Remember, the context of all of this and what I've said are based on rugby experiences. None of this was personal. Botha's legacy. Botha's reputation has long straddled the line between brilliance and brutality. A key figure in South Africa's dominant pack during the late 2000s and early 2010s, he combined technical excellence at lineout and maul with an unapologetically confrontational edge. For opponents like Marler, that combination created a psychological battle long before kickoff. To be feared in rugby is to occupy space in an opponent's mind. According to Marler, no one did that better than Botha. Fear versus greatness. Marler's exercise highlighted a key distinction. Being feared is not synonymous with being the best. Laws, O'Connell, Thorn, and Vermeulen were universally respected for their rugby ability. But fear, in Marler's framework, required something darker. Unpredictability, edge, and perhaps a willingness to bend rules. Botha embodied that archetype. Etzebeth, in contrast, was portrayed as a master of theater rather than terror. A psychological competitor more than a true villain. Final thoughts. Joe Marler's bracket may have been lighthearted, but it sparked serious nostalgia for rugby's most uncompromising figures, from Heyman's scrummaging dominance to Chabal's mythic aura, from Haliufia's bone-rattling hits to Botha's notorious edge. The debate underscored how intimidation shapes the sport's folklore. In the end, Marler's choice was clear. Bakkies Botha, in his eyes, was not just